Few movies manage to maintain that increasing level of dread and anxiety without the added threat of any sort of violence, death or destruction, and at the end of all of that still pose a compelling moral question.
Tells me you're brilliant. He also tells me you're lazy.
Trying to do better.
Well, being brilliant's not enough, young man. You have to work hard. Intelligence is not a privilege, it's a gift. And you use it for the good of mankind.
So,
Now you may or may not have noticed, but that was a scene from Spider-Man 2, a movie about a superhero that delivers pizzas.
Whoa! He stole that guy's pizza!
pizza time.
But that scene still pretty much summarizes the plot of the 1998 film Pi, directed by Darren Aronofsky. Just as Spider-Man 2 follows a man who stumbles down a spiral of madness in the pursuit of his own obsession, willing to destroy himself in the process.
We have to shut it down.
I love this boy.
I won't!
Pi follows a similar recital. Unlike most movies in which the best way to build anxiety is for a thug to point a gun at the protagonist, pull the trigger, only for it to miss, something we have seen countless times, Pi attracts anxiety through watching the destruction of a gifted mind succumb to its own obsession. The film follows Max, a young mathematical genius whose life's work revolves around the supercomputer he is building while living in a shitty apartment in Chinatown, Manhattan. He maintains little social contact, only speaking with some regulars, a little girl fascinated with his ability to do complex calculations in his head, and his mathematics mentor named Sol. Max and his mentor regularly play games of Go. Sol insists that the game is simply a microcosm of the complicated universe, while Max insists that a pattern can be found in its chaotic complexity and therefore can be predicted and understood.
Stop thinking, Max. Just feel. Use your intuition.
Sol says he is like his goldfish named Icarus.
I named her Icarus after you, my renegade pupil. You fly too high. You'll get burnt.
Max also suffers from headaches, hallucinations, and ever-increasing paranoia. All of this presumably started when as a child Max tried to stare into the sun, despite being warned by his mother not to.
When I was a little kid, my mother told me not to stare into the sun. So once when I was 6, I did.
He believes the supercomputer he is building can help prove the meaning of existence and use it to predict the future, believing that everything in nature has a pattern and hence can be explained numerically.
Pythagoras loved this shape, for he found it everywhere in nature. The nautilus shell, ram's horns, whirlpools, tornadoes, our fingerprints, our DNA, and even our Milky Way.
Max attempts to program the computer to make stock predictions, but the computer malfunctions and prints out what is a random 216-digit number, then crashes immediately after.
Shit!
The next morning on the subway, he learns that his computer was actually accurate, so he goes to ask his mentor Sol about it. Sol asks if the number he came across was a 216-digit number, expressing that he had come across that number years ago and had a stroke because of it. He urges Max to take a break from his work. Groups from different steps of the socio-economic ladder attempt to persuade him into cooperating with them. Hasidic Jews fascinated with the Jewish numerology hassle him to prove their god's existence, believing that he can bring about the new messianic age. Wall Street bankers try to buy him out once they learn that they can use his computer to, well, make money. His hallucinations progressively get worse after undergoing a new experiment with his computer, now using an advanced microchip given to him by one of the Wall Street agents. The experiment leads to the computer once again printing out a random 216-digit number. He has a clairvoyant episode and is able to visualize the stock market patterns he sought after. After this episode, his headaches get worse and notices a bulging vein on the side of his frontal lobe. The Wall Streeters use the number to try and manipulate the stock market. Instead, the market crashes and the number Max had given them was incorrect.
Holy fucking shit.
His headaches get more and more frequent and decides that for them to stop, he needs to destroy his supercomputer, believing that the number and the headaches are linked. He then proceeds to get a power drill and perform a lobotomy on himself.
Was that the bite of 80s?
Despite the answer being in front of Max the entire time, he was too blinded by his own obsession to see it. Much like me when I was watching this movie. The answer to the riddle was staring us in the face the entire time, but like the selfish desires of the protagonist, we simply refused to see it. Max ultimately realizes that life should not be calculated, emulated, or analyzed, but rather to be experienced and lived. In the end, his genius was taken advantage of by the likes of greed and religious exploitation. Max realized that he needed to put an end to his life's work, knowing that no matter what, not only himself but others around him will also take advantage of his genius. Instead of finding the answer to everything, he finds the beauty all around him on a surface level, how it's meant to be, not how we try to understand it and perceive it as. We as a species look for answers but inevitably find more questions. We contemplate and attempt to understand the world, the universe, and attempt to structure it, from anything to a complex mathematical equation or to something as little as a quote. Are they all just patterns for us to understand that have no real meaning to the endless cosmos known as the universe? That is the consequence of intelligence.